Okay, this is Birthright Tape 3, and this is a continuation of Tape 2 uh, that was recorded, and it still is January 15th. July 15th, 2016. All right, go ahead, Bob. We were left off.
Okay. We were talking about this concept of who would be first in heaven, who would be servants to those who would be first in heaven, and I called that total bullshit, which it is. The fact is, if you even remember, 2,000 years ago, people asked me who would be first and last. I said those who are last would be first, those who are first would be last.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm telling you is simply this. People, you're God. You're not a chip off the old block. You're not a spark of the light. You're not a kid of the king or whatever. You, literally each one of you, are the complete totality of God. Doesn't get no better than that. The fact is, that's as good as it gets. Total equality is God. How can it be more equal? You don't have to worry about who's going to be serving who in heaven. If anybody serves anybody there, it's only because they're willing to do so out of the goodness of their heart. Something they can do to help someone. It has nothing to do with servitude at all. That's not part of heaven. Heaven has nothing to do with servitude.
Why, as I know it, I've always understood it, that even down to the lowliest particles and atomic structures that make up the universe, that even those are not indentured in whatsoever, that they are choosing their positions, and those positions are not indefinite, and that's why when you get down into quantum, you see these particles blinking off and blinking on, and having a relationship with light and energy that defies normal laws of physics.
Yeah.
Because even at that level, there exists the God consciousness.
That's right. It's
So,
mine.
yeah.
So, don't need to give really any thought to who's going to be servant of whom in heaven. That doesn't happen in heaven. And heaven isn't where you have to die to go to. Heaven is not a where, it's not a when, it's a who. Who's you? And it's here and now, just like I said 2,000 years ago. It's in you, it's about you, it's all around you. It's right here and now, people. The only reason that you're not feeling like you're in heaven right now is because you're not letting yourself feel like you're in heaven right now. And there are a lot of influences in this world that don't want you to think you're in heaven right now.
Yeah.
So there comes a point where you just have to decide who and what you want to be. And that's what I'm calling to right now. I'm calling to that part of you that needs to remember who it is. Now, a few minutes ago I spoke about miracles. Basically, other than being our birthright, which they are, miracles are a jump gap. They shorten time. Not time travel, I'm not talking about that, so it's another issue for another night, but another session. But instead of the hundreds or thousands of years it might take you as a soul to come to recognition of your true birthright, your true identity, miracles are a little brief reminder that shorten that time. So that if you choose, you can see who you are a little quicker than you would have otherwise. They're a reminder that there's somebody there who cares about you. And when you really come to know who that is, then you come to know it's really you, your true self, God. And you have a living relationship, not a religion. I never came to start a religion. People were asking me 2,000 years ago, and I even then said no. I came to help promote a relationship. A relationship's alive. Not always happy. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But it's alive and growing. A relationship versus a religion, which is a coffin for the truth. But the truth, because it's alive, will not stay in a coffin, and it'll vacate the premises. That's happened to Christianity a long time ago. Let me explain. There's a difference between Christianity, churchianity, and real Christianity. Every one of you can be Christ, because every one of you is God.
That's one of the few things that is to the bone of what you used to teach back in the day was got to remain in, or got to be retold in the Bible. I remember my catechism growing up, how they would you would tell people repeatedly, it was reported, these miracles that I do, you will be able to do,
And even greater.
and even greater. And if you read between the lines, you extrapolate that just a little bit, and what are you really saying? You're putting everybody on the same par as yourself.
Absolutely.
You're
Total
saying
equality.
you're saying there's an equality there.
Divine equality.
And they managed to sanitize so much of the secret doctrine and the power of what you said. I always found it when I woke up to realizing that, when I got a little older, in my late teen years, and I came to realize that, I found it real surprising.
And this equality, this divine equality, is shared by the humans who walk on 2 feet as well as the humans who walk on 4 feet. So you have a lot of your brothers and sisters who walk on 4 feet in this world, and they're as much divine as you are. The matter is this: it comes down to seeing yourself in the true light of who you really are, God. Then you can see everyone and everything around you as you see yourself, because they are you, looking back at you from behind another pair of eyes. Let's look at the situation with the New Testament after my passing and after my resurrection and then supposedly leaving. And I know one of the questions there was it a spaceship that I was in when I left? That's a nice question. I'm going to let you think about that one for a while. That was the messages of people who were spreading the good message after I left. If you look at the various forms of Christianity that existed at the time, oh my gosh. Finally, I believe it was Justinian, Emperor Justinian of the Roman Empire, who wanted to have a codified, coherent, cohesive form of Christianity that could be recognized throughout the empire.
Yeah.
And
This is before they had pulled together what we know as the Bible, right?
right. This is how we got our present Bible.
Right.
And there were so many stories about me, some of which were flat not true. And
Wasn't there a Nicene priest involved or something?
Yeah, the Nicene Council, that's right. And in fact, you have it. What is it? You call it the Nicene Creed, I believe it is, in some of your faiths nowadays. I'm sure it's in the Catholic faith and in most of the Protestant Christian faiths. Now, you have to understand, you have 2 forms of Christianity basically today. You have the Western version, which takes in Catholicism and Protestantism, which is what they call Pauline Christianity, from Paul, the Apostle Paul. Then you have Eastern Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, and Russian Orthodox, which is the Eastern Bloc, Eastern form or Orthodox form of Christianity based on the teachings of Peter. But at the time that the Nicene Council was asked to do their work, scholars who got together and found out that there were so many splinter groups, so many different types of Christianity, and some of them outlandish, that they decided to pull all of this together and say, okay, this particular writing, we've read it, and it really doesn't seem to match the message of Christ, so we'll toss that.
Yeah.
And what we came up with was, well, what they came up with.
And of course, they probably had some strong political influences telling them, well, don't give the people too much power now.
Very probable. Not only that, but Justinian didn't want reincarnation in the Bible
That's what I'm talking
what if
about.
it meant he had to come back as a shit slapper in some stable in this next life? Sorry, but that's, politics was a big part of it.
Sure.
Even my crucifixion 2,000 years ago was partly political. The fact that I got in the way of the money changing that was going on, the way that was divided up.
Yeah, in the temple.
That got me in a good bit of trouble. So part of that crucifixion had to do with a political issue, government control by way through the temple. Some of the money that the temple was getting was also, believe it or not, shared off with the Roman Empire.
Uh-huh.
So that.
Well, they were in control of the land, so.
Yeah. And now we're in the New Rome today, America.
Yeah.
Used to be England.
Well, New Atlantis.
Yeah. And in fact, if you take Atlantis and move it forward, you go to Greeks, and from there to Rome, and from there to the English Empire, basically, and now America.
Yeah.
But the main issue here is that you need to come to know who you really are. You need to come to know that beyond the point of intellect, and that's why I tell you, even if just maybe for 20 minutes, if you can picture yourself as God, or as Jesus Christ, or as Buddha, or as Muhammad, or as Moses, think of what the miracles you could open up. Think of how you would see yourself and everybody around you, whether they earned it or not. This isn't earned. Salvation is coming to know who you are. It's not earned.
It's a birthright.
That's right.
That's why we're calling these recordings Birthright.
That's right.
And I think you mentioned in the first tape, you don't have to believe it. Like so many mantras, you don't have to even know what they mean. But the very act of just using them within a few weeks or less, they can literally transform you because they work their way into your psyche. And most people have no idea how extremely malleable the human psyche and human brain is. And what I'm talking about is the mantra you gave people to work with, which is a simple English mantra, triune, 3-verse mantra.
Very simple.
Go ahead, take it away.
I am God, I am great, and I'm grateful. Or I'm God, I'm great, and I'm glad. Say it either way.
And it works. You say it as whenever you think about it, off and on throughout the day. You say it quietly to yourself. You can say it in your head. It's even better. You spend a few times off and on doing it out loud, and as well as you can look at yourself in the mirror while doing it. And don't worry if you don't believe it. That's okay. It's still going to have an effect. A great positive effect on you.
That's right.
So you got nothing to lose on this one, folks.
Look at it this way. The powers that be in this world, and some not in this world, have put a lot of time and effort, thousands of years, thousands of your incarnations and reincarnations, to convince you that you're less than you really are. It only takes a matter of days to a week for you to undo that, because then you're working with truth when you come to recognize who you are. At first you might have to fake it. So you be an actor on the stage. And even if you really feel like saying, I'm God, well, don't say it that way. I'm God. I'm great. I'm grateful. And after a while, you won't have to even think about faking it. It'll be so natural. You'll be undoing these thousands of years of damage to your psyche, your soul, that have been done by those who are trying to keep you in your place. They don't want you to come to know who you are, because you'll replace them. They have a lot to lose. You have everything to gain.
Yeah. Could you say a little something about the disconnect that the Bible and religion has caused, and the fact that the fastest growing religion in the world right now is atheism, and is there, is there something that do you have any idea of what to say to people that just can't find any reason to believe in God, and that no matter you try to tell people to get in touch with themselves and to meditate or do this or that, or to see God in nature, and they just don't see it. They just keep coming up with these scientific diatribes of that take the soul out of everything, and sometimes I just I don't know what to say to them anymore. Do you have any ideas you want to put here?
Okay. First, before I do that, I'm going to offer another mantra. And it's, God is, I am God. God is, I am, the name of God. It's both a verb and a noun. And who you are, God. God is, I am God. I prefer the other mantra that I gave you originally over that one, but this one works as well.
All right.
Now, to a person who doesn't believe, I don't care whether a person believes in a particular faith or religion or not. I never came to promote religion. I came to promote relationship.
Right.
A living relationship with and as the living God.
I'm not talking about believing in religion.
No, just hear me out.
Okay.
So I didn't come to promote a particular faith or a particular religion. I came to promote a living relationship with and as the living God. Now, people who don't know what they believe or don't believe in anything, first of all, I have to say, I don't blame them with the way the world has
I understand it too.
Contaminated belief.
Yeah.
I don't blame them a bit, and I don't have a problem with them. I find more Christianity on the part of some atheists than I do a lot of, quote, Christians.
Yeah, and in terms of good morals and what have you. Sure. And it certainly, let me just say real quick, it certainly isn't going to keep anybody out of heaven. No. Their lack of belief. It's still going to boil down to the kind of person you were. Yeah. Okay.
And again, even heaven, you don't earn it. You accept it or you reject it. If you reject it, fine. You'll be back to try for it again. And what I'm saying is reincarnation, by the way, does exist, but they're all happening all at once in the eternal now.
Yeah.
In eternal here.
Yeah.
To me, there's only one true, real incarnation, that's God.
Yeah.
And so all these other incarnations are us looking back at us from somebody else's eyes.
Yeah.
The greatest incarnation that could exist is God. But for those who don't believe, I simply ask, do you believe in love?
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing.
Yeah. One of my favorite phrases I come back to all the time, and little things that I write is only love is real.
Absolutely. It's our identity. I used to teach students in a mental health clinic when I was living in Florida, and I was teaching forms of meditation and visualizing. And so often I would hear, well, I can't visualize. Well, I don't have any imagination. I can't visualize. And then I'd say, oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, by the way, what would you do if you won the lotto? Oh, I'd buy a house, I'd get a car, And then I'd say, oh, so you do know how to visualize. You do have an imagination. Okay. For those who say they don't believe, I can't blame them one bit. But then the simple question is, do you believe in love? Do you know how to at least feel love when it comes to you and how to share love to others? Mm-hmm. And if that's it, then believe me, that's God. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you want to put that name on it or not. I don't give a damn. Neither does God.
Right on.
God's not selfish. And God is not so weak that he needs you bowing and scraping into him and saying, oh, praise God, praise God.
That's more
God
BS.
is not in need of a commercial.
Yeah.
God knows who he is, she is.
Yeah.
Both. So you don't have to do everything in the name of God. That's not what I'm teaching either.
Yeah.
I'm using the term because it's an English term that people who speak the language of English can understand.
Right.
Just like love is a term they can understand.
Yeah.
Same thing. When I was a little kid, we used to say dinner time prayer in school for lunch. God is good, God is great, God is love.
Yeah.
And instead of saying God is love, I'd rather say love is God. There is a difference. If God is love, then God might be able to decide not to be love. But if love is God, that locks it in.
There you go.
So for anyone who's a non-believer, I say, hey, do you believe in love?
Beautiful.
It's that simple.
Beautiful.
And it's too simple for what the world wants to hear, isn't it? But I guess I'm putting it to you like this. I'm saying, this is the time to choose who you're going to be. That I can't put any other way.
Yeah.
Whether you want to hear it that way or not, I can't change it. I'm here to remind you. That's all I was here for 2,000 years ago.
No more fence sitters, people.
It's time to choose who you're going to be.
This is serious business. There's a lot of jockeying for the hearts and minds of people at this time, and their own ability to reconcile themselves and their identity is what's on the line here. You know,
Absolutely.
so you know whether you want to put that in the scope of just the life that you live here, or if you are able to imagine and envision and believe in something that's much greater, you know, on either perspective, it's you know, same kind of thing is going on. That there's, you know, people that want to deny you health and happiness and love, and you know, so they can steal that from you and use you and your energy and treat you as an object, and that's the antithesis of what all the prophets and God wants for everybody.
In fact, 2,000 years ago, I took the 10 Commandments and broke them down to 2.
There you go.
Love the Lord your God with all your being, and love one another as yourself.
Yeah.
Well, now I can take that and make those 2 commandments into 1. Love yourself and those around you as God incarnated, because that's who you are.
Yeah.
Or as love incarnated, because that's who you are. Again.
Yeah. All
this is
that
childhood's end. It's time to remember who you are. Time to choose to remember who you're going to be.
All that craziness about, you know, genuflecting and you know, tithing to God, and all that crap in the Bible and other ancient native cultures of sacrificing each other. That's all stuff that bad aliens taught us and put upon us, because some of these beings were pretty twisted bastards, and they actually got off on that negative suffering fear energy. They can actually you know, thrive off that, and
they're like vampires.
You know, it had nothing to do with the real God, and we're getting to the end. We got a few more minutes here. Let's just cover 2 quick things, kind of along these lines. One is I'm going to say why in a paragraph or 2 explain why it is that God has allowed so much suffering to go on in the world, and why does he intercede like a lot of people today, a lot of atheists have become that, because they can't reconcile a God that will allow things to be so bad.
It's very simple. Why have you allowed it? There's an interesting picture on Facebook. Not to put a plug in, but that's where I saw it. There's a young man seated on a bench talking to Jesus. And he says, Jesus, why have you allowed so much suffering and misery and all this? And Jesus said, you know, that's interesting. I was just about to ask you that same question.
Yeah, I've seen that. I like it too, yeah.
I think it says it better than anything else I could.
Yeah. And I tell you, I just wanted you to say it, you know, because there's, you know, it all ties in. If we are, you know, which we are, you know, God in a form that you share, then there, you know, we're not to be looking to some specific individuated entity to do anything for us. You know, we've got the capacity to do for ourselves, and we need to get with it. And the other thing that there are a lot of people that are very gentle souls and that are have become different variations of vegetarianism, and again, they don't understand. We talked about this before, but for the tape, you know, just explain how it is that you know, God, the Creator, created a world that at the physical levels of manifestation, we have to consume different variations of energy and substance and plants and animals and everything for our substance. How does that tie in?
Because again, you pretty well answered it already. You're in a world of physicality.
Yeah.
You have to take in the sun's energy indirectly. You can't take it in directly.
Yeah, the old yogic understanding, sure.
Sure. So you either take it in by eating plants, or you take it in by eating,
which is secondary.
Animals that have eaten plants, like eating.
And that would be
burgers.
tertiary. That's third generation.
Yeah. And if you look at even 2,000 years ago, people.
But I mean, on the
goats, or they were catching fish.
But I mean, you know, if you respect animals, the point I'm trying to establish here for people is that if it's done properly and you respect animals, like native peoples would actually give thanks, and they would respectfully just take, you know, the animals they needed, and they didn't torture them. They didn't you know, keep them you know, locked up in any kind of painful ways. Well, when it was time, you know, they would you know, take a fattened you know, animal or something and use it to feed each other, as well as they didn't eat you know, as much meat as we do today. But that spiritually, I want to clarify for people that, you know, that's, you know, if you do eat meat, it's not a damning thing. Right. The problem there lies in how you know, we're mass producing, you know, our meat, how it comes on to our plate, and how we're treating the animals. That's what's disrespectful and hellish right now, that needs to change.
Definitely. And again, as I said earlier, people, as long as they don't brutalize animals in any way, you know, if you see the animals around you as God incarnated, and you see yourself, again, as I've said often, that some humans walk on 4 feet.
Yeah, you never know. Like the Indians believe all the cows are their relatives. So.
Also, you believe in the oversouls of all of the
right
various types of animals. But the most importantly is you believe in who they really are incarnated, as are you. In fact, one of them is, I don't know if the camera's picking this up or not, but one of them is laying on the floor by my feet right here.
Yeah.
Her name is Sandy, and she's one of the sweetest souls on earth.
All right, well, we got about an hour between the two tapes. We're going to wrap this up, so.
Yeah, just remember that the fact is, what I came 2,000 years ago was to remind you of who you are, and that you have worth to your Creator as the Creator, and to start a relationship, not a religion. And I love you. And I want you to love each other. It's your birthright, dudes.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Godspeed.
See you next time.